Liam Norman healing update. 9 minutes past 4 p.m. Saturday the 30th of August. I'm processing a lot of trauma. It's painful. I have more updates regarding arrests and an appearance in court. And I will document these events and experiences accordingly if and when I feel that it's appropriate for me to do so. So, trigger warning. This is about the satanic ritual abuse I experienced as a child. And I've updated my cover photo on Facebook. One of the photos is me being angry at primary school from the abuse, and another photo is of me cropped. They're both cropped, but the other photo of me is as a teenager looking like I've survived a fight with a bear. And that was after, as best as I can remember, some control buzzwords here. Best, do that, best. As best as I can remember. What? What do you mean? Mr. Pied Piper, Town Crier, Torture Chamber, Trauma Survivor. What do you mean as best as you can remember? Are you wasting your time? Are you wasting our time? We've got loads of stuff on you. It's horrible. So in the other photo, I'm a teenager. We were at a centre parks, and I was instructed not to smile in the photo, or my life wouldn't be worth living. And my brothers were beaming with big, bright smiles in the photo. And to the best of my knowledge, another expression which promotes doubt. I think I was just tortured at 24 Longford Grove. And I think the more joy I experienced at school, at Mallet Lambert School, the more connections I made with people. The more times I got off the school bus happy. And anything that was positive in my life was tortured from me in the most unimaginable way possible. And I think my mum was in such severe pain that she was desperate for the next child's innocence, which was sometimes we were connected to another family the more I heal, I understand they were also part of the cult and the evil, which consists of parents being paedophiles, satanic torturers, paedophiles, probably including murder in there. In there, so we were connected to another family who I referred to the children as my cousins and the parents as my uncle and auntie, but they weren't. And it helped me on my healing journey, remembering this connection to the family and understanding as best as my fragmented mind can remember some of the torture that their children endured. And even though I'm going to talk about some disturbing things in this video, it's given me some comfort to know that I'm not the only one who suffered. And as distasteful as it could sound, it helped. I had it. I had a really bad, torturous childhood on a scale where if people had footage of what they did to me, I think they would just they would want to kill themselves, or they would just pass out or faint on the spot. And on the spot, probably another terminology from the torture, but my fragmented sorting of my trauma and my connections, including the other family who I've mentioned. Yeah, I'm just lost in my stew of words. Um, but but there's a strong possibility that one of the members of the family experienced much more severe satanic ritual abuse trauma than I did. Then you did what, Liam? So that's given me some comfort in a strange way, but it's also been uncomfortable because it's not nice to think about the other victim and then how much they they suffered. It's not nice to think about that. It just it's there for me in this hell. I think they use the word adrenochrome sometimes when talking about satanic ritual abuse trauma. And I think that's what the paedophiles become high on. And I don't know if it's connected to the blood. But I think there was a savage butchering of me in my bathroom at 24 Longford Grove by my mum, and also in the living room. One involving just bashing my head and my whole being on the corners of. And I know there was a wooden. There was a wooden wash basket in the bathroom, and I'm not sure most bathrooms have many corners because obviously taps are quite round. Well, maybe there was one on the bath because of how the bath was situated, and I was sort of coerced into stealing my mum a bathroom suite from a business I worked for as a 17-year-old, the Plum Centre. It was an evil family. It was an evil family. And I think my grandmother, who I had to get a tap for, who was selling me as part of the child, well, she was part of the paedophile ring, and she was selling me and having me tortured as a child sex slave, and mostly having me tortured by my mum, David Beedle, and my uncle, main uncle abuser. James Philip Smack. But I think there was a sort of my nana controlled everything. What I was going to say is I think when I got my uniform, the Wolseley Group uniform for my job, there was a jacket, a coat as part of the uniform, and I think this made me really happy because obviously I could see the coat and the stitching, and it made me feel part of something. So I think what my grandma did is tried the jacket on and walked out the door with it, and I never saw it again. So I'd have to go back to the company and without the jacket, and just like little, oh, just lots of evil stuff. So I think my mum just like bashed my head around the bathroom on the corners, and thinking back, I think there was a time at school where I was happy because I was playing football with my friends, and I took a corner kick or made a corner kick. Oh, this is a nice area. And one of my friends dash associates, they'd scored a goal, so it was like it was a good corner kick. And obviously I wasn't the David Beckham of the school. I had my moments which spared me from the punishment of my peers. I used humour to get acceptance. I think I was probably kind to people and tried to help people, but I was also a dangerous cactus or like acid spritzer. That's how dangerous it is when you're surviving a satanic murderous pedophile cult and you're going to school. Oh God. It's like you just you've got acid on a rag. Rag. And they'd in the carpet shop they'd make me clean, assist me to clean some of the vinyls with a solvent, and they look at you as if to say with the rag and the solvent that this is where you're going, this is what you're going to be doing. Or when the shoplifter comes in and he's kneeling, what you got, and he's telling you that this is okay, this is right, gives a £10 or £20 for some razors, let's say. Go stick them in the wardrobe at the back. Go stick them in the cupboard at the back. Right. A razor as well. So it's a symbol of the manhood. So not only are they saying that stealing is right, it's like there's a memento of what they're gonna steal from you. Your manhood. Or if you grow a mustache, you're the laughing stock of the family. Well, then when you reflect how icky that is, that they all are part of your expression of life, of male life, and then you're in the bathroom, you've somehow been persuaded. I think I was persuaded to make a video of me shaving off my mustache. Or at the very least, to shave it off by my satanic uncle. Maybe it'll help bring peace to the family. And then you all laugh because you're all just part of this death that you're surviving. Use one of your mum's razors. Think your mum's got one in there that you can use? Oh, son, I forgot to tell you I've used that one. Oh, I won't tell you where I used it. Or when you're escaping and you go to meet your mum in the car with your middle brother and you're reminded what an embarrassment you are, and it's your friends are keeping you alive and they're fighting the entity which is trying to kill you or convert you into a pedophile. Like, some of your family members. So you're trying to decide what to wear to see this evil woman who tortured you and tried to kill you. If you never feel good enough, you take some artwork, and she doesn't need that stress. She doesn't need that big performance. And then you give her a kiss. Or maybe you walk away. I walk away from the car. I forgot to give you a kiss, son. Come back. And then you give her a kiss. And then you get a call. And you feel a wetness on your lips. Oh, I forgot to tell you, son. I had my lippy on. More than likely, blood. Particular type of blood. So it helps them control you and control the mantle. I believe the mantle is like I don't know how to explain what a mantle is or what I believe a mantle is, but I hear the term mantle a lot in relation to satanic ritual abuse, and I have an intuitive understanding that they're controlling the mantle. And they do a lot of rituals. I know they used to keep my hair and I think parts of my flesh from when they tortured me, and they're working on a mantle. So whether this mantle is within me or it's stashed at my mum's home or one of the other paedophiles' spaces, it's they're controlling me. It's always a reminder of the abuse. They always taught me to keep a lid on it. So I think they would do something like my grandmother Lesley Sargent and her husband, who were sort of a major part of the selling of me and the torturing of me and the minding and handling of me. Shove as many from the home where I've been fed shit, possibly in the same rough time as being fed shit and tortured and silenced and screamed at, and it's like putting as much rubbish, matter, anything, just really cramming as much stuff into a pack of Pringles, let's say a red. And when I was forced to rape my girlfriend Rebecca Lanigan, my uncle would refer to my penis as a Ken, and they would laugh. Is your Ken red? Is it a red Ken? And they made me put a red Ken. I think it's a woman's shampoo product poster in my bathroom. Well, it was a framed poster before they took my manhood, and I had to have a photo of me on the toilet with my thumb up. Oh, if it's red, it's all right. Red or dead. It's a brand. I think my nana and my mum sometimes wore. Possibly I bought some shoes once, red or dead. So I've lost my point. So I'm going to wait and try to remember where I was and continue. So mantle, torture, flesh, hair, blood, red. So yeah, they'd put as much as they could in a Pringles tub, more than likely an empty Pringles tub, but it doesn't matter, even if maybe there was actually a full tub of Pringles or half Pringles, and they just smashed whatever Pringles were in there because they don't care. So they just put as much shit. This is an intuitive memory, and however much distance, and this is what they do. This is a memory which I believe honors my trauma. And even if this wasn't true or isn't true, it's a good representation of what they do. So they cram as much shit, probably including dog shit or rags or whatever else, and just as much as you can possibly put into a Pringles tub. So I don't have Pringles at the moment, but I did some shopping. So I bought some bread rolls yesterday. So and then I always have bananas in. I've got some dates, some crisps, crab sticks. So I could put all of those items in a Pringles tub. Could probably get a banana in there, a couple of bread rolls if I rip them up, some crab sticks, some crisps. If I was feeling really satanic, probably some of my own shit or some dog shit from the street. You just put it all in this Pringles tub and you put the lid on, and you can even tape, sellotape or gaffer tape. You put this lid on tight. This Pringles tub is crammed with everything in it. This is what we do. You take it out the living room, out of your child who's being tortured and sold as a child sex slave and fed shit. Take it out of their eye line. And Mark or Lesley come back in with a Pringles tub. Dare I say it, untouched. Or even if it has been touched, that doesn't matter. They come back with a Pringles tub, which is a regular Pringles tub. There you are. You can have some Pringles. There's nothing there. That's what we do. It's just a regular pack of Pringles for you there. That's what we do. So much savagery. But then before you know it, you're back at school. Mouth shut. Silly cunt. So to the best of my knowledge, I was tortured in the bathroom many times. But there was one occasion where I think my mum was high on adrenochrome or in the desperation of needing the next child's innocence, and she just smashed fuck out of me all over the bathroom on all of the corners. And this was a, you see, they don't say a kid's happy. They say, oh, he's got a chuffy on. So do I allow that to be free? Hey, look, yeah. I tell you, he's good. What that is, he's got a chuffy on, yeah. So if I was coming home from school happy, I'm guessing they had a lookout close to the bus stop where they tell me to get off the bus. And I think there was lots of different members of the network on the Greatfield estate. I used to go to or be sent to a man's house called Rob. to buy DVDs, and he had a son called Ted, who we'd call Ginger Ted. I'm not making any claims about Rob or Ted in this video. I'm stating that I bought DVDs from them on many occasions, and this was a regular part of the circular satanic ritual of my life. And their house was in between Longford Grove and Dodswell Grove. So I can't remember the name of all the groves. Could have been a Stapleford, but I don't know. I remember James coming to my house with a stapler, teaching me how to staple my legs. But he couldn't ever show me what he was teaching me when it was painful, because he was at a different level. He'd just watch me have the pain, and then next minute I'm in class with one of my friends, Alex. I had a couple of Alexes who I could class as friends. So that's a nice boundary. Stapling ourselves as part of a class presentation. Or he'd come to the house. Grandma sent him, showing me a photo of when my teeth weren't chipped. So yeah, I try to cap this one off, but these have been some disturbing. Being tortured recently. I think my nana came round with a psychopath to beat the shit out of me as well, but a lot of it was my mum battering me, kicking me, and possibly a lot more's blocked out than I can imagine, like even stamping on my head and kicking me in the face. I think they used to teach me to put my tongue on my top teeth so she could punch me in the mouth and I could still go to school. But yeah, having obviously, well, you're happy at school. You did a corner kick, a sign of your boyhood or manhood. We own that. We own that. We own all of that. You're nothing. You're dead. You're as good as dead. As soon as you're gone, we can take care of you, brothers. You know. And just having my head smashed over all the corners of the bathroom of being tortured, and then having my little brother forced to laugh at me and kick me or hit me, and then later on feeling really bad, but obviously he's forced to do things because he's learned that safety is unsafe psychopaths. So yeah, just having like chunks of my skin missing, and then James would come, and that's probably the high of the adrenochrome. They can see my blood, so they're probably tasting my blood as well, and then maybe even trying to stitch me back up with a sewing kit, and just like they laugh and pins in my head and talking about, I think they talk about hammering pins in or nails in non-adult heads, and seeing the look of the victim. So they're like happy psychotic. I'm covered in blood. I'm tortured. got chunks. Possibly she had to cut chunks with a hair follicle in and send them to the chief honcho of the network, possibly the Mr. G, at the very least my grandmother, who was high up and like a go-between for one of the main psychopaths, other main psychopaths. So they've just got chunks of me or parts of, they have parts of me. I think they maybe even put some chunks in like made ice cubes, and then I want to reel it back in because I'm living with this and I'm working out this and understanding this. But for me as the victim of this hell, it's easier for just try to find a way for it to be uncredible or fall through. But I'm not living with it and working with it and processing it for no reason. I'm living with it and working with it and processing it because it happened to me. I'm not going to be accurate with everything that happened to me. I will make mistakes. But I'm confident in my account of my abuse and how my account holds up against the reality of my abuse. And any mistakes will likely be evened out by a huge blind spot of even more horrendous trauma that I've blocked out, which make any uncredibility concerns redundant. So I think the other one or the other incident was in the living room being told to like not necessarily bow, but go from a stood position to like a bow in front of my mother, and then she's got a fork in her hand, and then I think she just stabbed fuck out of my head with a fork. And then obviously that's the blood, which I think is the adrenochrome. So then James would be there in a shot because Lesley was always on the phone, and like it's like they knew everything that was going on with us, and I think it was to the scale of also in Neil's shop that any form of humanity from my mum or Neil, they would like access something within inside themselves. So say for example, my mum would say, I shouldn't have done that to your son. I'm so sorry, but you don't understand. And once they make you do it, once you're in, you can't, da, da, da. And then she'll have an understanding. I'll have to pay for that. And then it's like, you'll have to pay for that. Some cunt's gonna get it. Or then she gets a child's innocence after all the torture and hell and chaos and stress in the house. Your she'll just come back all of a sudden with a smile on her face, flaunting this sexual energy and saying she's going on a date or she's going to one of her partners. So yeah, the corners out of my head, the forking in my like having like literal chunks. I think they even like I think she was on the phone to my grandma saying she could see my skull at one point. I don't know if they also did something with a spoon, like wedging a spoon in my eye. I'm not sure that's possible, but and I don't want to. I've thought sometimes it's like wanting to. I don't know, take the power away by doing things to yourself. Just any way to get it out. Get it out. For example, I've one of my former friends dash associates. I think she was more of a friend. I think she taught me about like burning a bit of your hair, and I'm not advising anyone to burn their hair, but or cut. I don't know. For example, if I was concerned that someone was in my energy, or they'd taken something from me, or taken something from my hair, when you're a spiritual person, or you're surviving a fucking satanic cult and you're hanging on for dear life, you find ways of working with energy. So I'm in a prison cell, a police cell. They've given me some information to read. I'm working with the onslaught from the police whilst trying to maintain my sovereignty, win this battle, and create a beautiful life. I just put a fold in the corner of the paper, top corner or bottom corner. Then I can unfold it, but it's a way of maintaining my power in a situation. Or someone has touched my hair who I didn't want to touch my hair, or they've slighted me as a person in no relation to my hair, but your hair holds a lot of your power. I decide, okay, I'm going to cut off one strand of hair, or maybe even pull one strand of hair out. But I've learned to take care of myself. I bought a hairbrush. I've learned to take care of myself as part of my healing. But yeah, you put a fold in a piece of paper, or you cut off a strand of your hair, or I've burnt my hair before. Like if I'm really lost in a spiritual space and feeling disturbed or attacked, it's my power. I've shaken hands with someone I didn't want to touch, so I could come home. Obviously, you can wash your hands, but you could also cut your nails. And then perhaps, I don't know, throw some of your nails outside so they're not even in your bin. It's a battle to stay alive, especially if people are working on mantles and they've got parts of your skin or your teeth. I think the pictures of me from being a baby were in the loft at 24 Longford Grove, and I was always informed, but I was never allowed to get near them. And the way they see that beautiful baby in their teeth, and they see what victims don't want to believe exists. And then they not only split your connection with yourself and your family through the mind control and the torture, which I think probably involved electrocution and temporary drowning and evil. It's an evil system. I made a video to piss the network off while I was in this battle with German connotations under. It wasn't immediately clear that this video was me, you know? So it was about taking the power away from them. And to the best of my knowledge, within a short space of time after releasing this video, I received a missed call from a German number. So it's a worldwide industry of child sex monster mafia, like MK Ultra programming. I think it includes lots of tunnels. There's tunnel systems which they talk about on some of the satanic ritual abuse podcasts. There's a satanic ritual abuse podcast called the Imagination Podcast, and there's another podcast which I've recently I've been listening to with a male host. I've forgotten the name of it. Like maybe it's Real Crime Podcast. Sean Atwood, possibly the host, but they talk about tunnel systems, and obviously I'm trying to present this. How can you package something like this? Package it nicely for people who torture kids. And obviously, I don't want to blame the adult mental health services or the police, but it's been another form of torture, engaging with the criminal justice system and the fucking mental health services. So my mum would brush my hair like a monster, like digging nails in my head. And then they would groom me when I was a support worker under mind control to slowly start bringing the monster and the roughness and the aggression and the ickiness into my service users' lives. Mantle. Yeah. When you're part of a family who siphon sexual energy from children's private parts and rape you at the table, and I think that was another memory. I was working with a strong possibility my uncle raped me at my grandma's table on, I think, on Christmas Day. I think it was possibly filmed as snuff. Also, possibly they fucked up and forgot to record, but there was a lot of blood and a special needs person being anally raped at a family table and tortured. And then the high on the adrenochrome and all the bullshit and plugging you back up in the most degrading ways possible. Yeah. So my teaching to everybody I'm dealing with is just keep kicking the shit out of me. I'll do the best not to kill myself. And then when I get what I need in order to survive in the form of diagnoses and the financial support, I'll continue my life creating art and expressing myself and moving along. So thanks for the handcuffs and the court appearances and the aggression and the removals from my home and the community resolution orders for satanic child murdering fucking torturous psychopath pedophiles and confiscating my phone before I get threatened by a monster in a van. Thanks for all of this. I'll just continue. Thanks. 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 You're right. You have the power. You have the answers. You have the keys and the cells and the uniforms and don't like to be disturbed by people who follow the heart with a strong conviction. So keep kicking the fuck out of me, please. Keep reducing my expression because I want to be blackmailed. I want to feel afraid to express myself. Because if I express myself, I might not get the financial support. I might not get the correct diagnoses. They might put me in an institution, in a mental. So I want to feel afraid because you're in charge. So I think they'd also slit my penis and possibly eat parts of the skin and take chunks out of me and make me go to shop looking like something out of a war movie, and you just ask for These trusting my intuition. Ask for 20 fags or 10 fags, not cigs. I don't think you have to pay for them at that stage because people just want you out of the way and the mantle's controlling everything. You just look at them and you say, I asked for it, I deserved it. Nobody can do anything. I think I'm an asp. I think I have Asperger's. So I'm working with a lot of repressed memories. The other family who I've briefly alluded to, who we were connected to, if I was to speak about, in particular, one of their children's experiences, it would really put into perspective how satanic this abuse is. But it seems appropriate for me to be mindful of what I'm talking about. So there have been some positives from these arrests and the court appearance, and like it's rubbing up against my pain. So as much as I want to be a victim about it, it's helping me, as painful as it is, and it's also allowing me to consider my expressions and the impact of my expressions, and use mindfulness. Um, but it's horrible. It's so horrible. They take everything. Thanks. Bye.